Hi everyone, it's Elena from XM8 Mastery here. Today I would like to talk about some items that I know I've recorded videos on before, but I can't find them in my feed for whatever reason, and I actually had to refresh my own memory because I forgot how to do these things. So today I want to make a video that's a combination of two things. So first of all, we're going to talk about bid items and how to zero out a line item price and put a line item note, and then use a bid item at the bottom of the estimate. I've actually been asked this about 5 times in the past week, so I'm not really sure if there's something going on out there in the industry, but I had to refresh myself, so I thought, it's time to make a refreshed YouTube video on that. Also, we're going to talk about the different other way to remove the line item pricing, and that's to use a PWI note, which is totally different because that's over in the coverages section under a sublimit or additional coverage. So we're going to take a look at that. That's the second way we're going to do it. I'm combining kind of two big topics into one video, so it's gonna be a little bit longer than usual, but I thought that it would be a lot easier to find this video and have it all in one place rather than trying to search my feed. So I'm also doing myself a favor here too, so apologize if this is a longer video than usual, but we're gonna have a lot of good information packed in here. So let's take a look at how to add bid items and zero out pricing, and then also how to use a PWI or paid when incurred code upgrade line item to affect the pricing in a different way. Let's take a look. So in this first instance, we've got these paid line items here that add up to, let's say, around $375, $400. I don't do mental math well, but you understand it's under $400 here. And then we went and tried to get an actual sub, a painter, to do this work, and he's like, no, buddy, it's going to cost $750 to do this. So I need to zero out the line items here, these 3 paint line items, to show that the adjuster did pay these 3 line items on his estimate, but we actually need to replace those line items with a bid. So what we're going to do here is use what's called the pricing note. Now, when you first get into Xactimate and you open up estimate items and you add your line item here, it'll default to this item image, which is where you can click for detail and get all your detail on your line item. However, today what we want to do is affect a line item price note. So it's kind of an interesting place where they put this. It's logical. It is under unit price. So in order to find this pricing note, you can click on unit price or click on the price button over here. And that will bring up this sub screen, changing it from the item image over to the unit price. So just wanted to point that out, guys, in case you needed to go back to your click for detail. It is a toggle over here to the right. So with our unit price screen up, there is a note section here. If you drop down your list, you get a smart list. If you've never set up any notes, you're going to get a smart list here. If you have set up past notes, they would be sitting here waiting for you to use them. I'm going to click on smart list, and for some reason, these didn't populate into that drop down. Not sure why, but I've already set up some of these items before because I use them quite a bit. But the first one we're going to use and we're going to set up is a bid item. So I want to zero out these 3 first line items and show them as bid items, and then show that we're replacing those 3 items with an actual bid from a subcontractor. So in order to add the bid item, pretty easy. You just go, you add it, and you put in their bid item or whatever you'd like to name this note for your pricing. And you do need to name it something that you don't mind the adjuster seeing, because it is going to print on your PDF. So don't put anything weird here. Stay simple and ordinary, and just name it what it is. So bid item, after you've added it, it should show up on your smart list here. So I'm just going to left click once. Actually, just to demonstrate adding a bid item, I'm going to put in here paint bid. Not that I'd ever use this, but just to show you how it's going to look, it's going to populate there on the list, just like that. So I'm going to use bid item. It's just a more common note that is being used. So I'm going to left click OK. It's going to fill out the note field. Then I'm going to left click OK to accept that line item. Now notice your RCV column now says bid item, and there is no money there on that line item any longer. Going to repeat the process here. We should be able to drop down, and now I can, and select the other line items here. Unfortunately, I have not found a way to do this on multiple line items. I would just have to select them and change their price. This isn't in global settings anywhere or the global changes wizard. We just have to select each line item and choose that. Now at the very bottom, we've got our paint bid line item. I recommend using your category or your trade. So if I had drywall here, I'd put DRY, and then always use the selector code bid item. So BIDITM. There is no E there because, you know, that makes sense. Anyhow, that's your bid item for the estimate. And then of course, I would always make a note here. I just put in here sub, turn in a bid of $750. I always try to explain everything explicitly so the adjuster doesn't have to ask me any questions. So I'm going to go to my print here, and let's take a look at how this is going to look on our final copy of our estimate. And you'll see, actually, I need to run the final draft there. With or without removal depreciation is the best one. For some reason, my Xactimate reset itself. It like undid all of my defaults. It's been a fun journey today. Anyhow, view, and we should get, there we go, that's what I want to see. So you see the bid item, the ACV amount is actually replaced by the price note that you have denoted, and then you've got your total here for your bid item. And that's how it would look on the printed version of your report. This is also useful for carpet or shingles that are outdated or do not have any current like, kind, or quality. I also use what's called ITEL here, that it will zero out your line item saying that you're waiting for an ITEL report to come back. So that way it's not added to the total RCV amount at the bottom of your estimate or the ACV amount, whatever you're working off of if you're an adjuster, that the ITEL amount is not going to be included while you're waiting for that like, kind, and quality report from ITEL, which is the corporation, to come back. So that's a side note. That's the other way that I use this. Line item note is for ITEL, waiting on line items that need the report back before we can decide on what the like, kind, and quality is for a certain line item that has been outdated or just they don't make it anymore. Something like chalet shingles or perhaps shag carpeting or asbestos siding. Those types of things we need to ITEL to find like, kind, and quality. So that's just a side note there. Something else I would use a line item pricing note for. The second thing I want to talk about is how to add line items as paid when incurred. Here on the roof, we've got ice and water shield that doesn't currently exist on the roof. It is considered what's called a code upgrade, and therefore the adjuster will not pay it in the first ACV check because it doesn't currently exist on the roof. They want to see proof of it installed before they'll pay. So what I like to do is ask the adjuster to please add it as paid when incurred or code upgrade, whatever they're more comfortable with. If there's indeed code upgrade coverage on the insurance policy. Now, you never want to talk policy with an adjuster, so you don't want to call up and say, hey, do they have code upgrade? That is crossing into adjuster or PA territory, and they're cracking down harder and harder on this. So usually you can get the homeowner to email their agent or asking if they have the code upgrade, or get them to quickly call into the insurance company and ask. It's better to come from the homeowner than for the contractor. Just a side note, you can really get into some trouble doing that. So always err on the side of caution here, especially in this climate in the insurance industry, and ask about that code upgrade. Now, if they do indeed have it, I would like the insurance company to pay it because we need to bring the roof up to code. So we're going to ask for this line item, and we're going to ask for it as PWI, paid when incurred, or code upgrade. So you can see on my screen I did not deduct the felt yet. That is really up to you how you want to go about this. Do you want to deduct the felt now for the ice and water shield? Do you argue that the felt should run under the ice and water shield? That's up to you. So I know that question is rolling around in some of your minds. I'm just not even going there because this money that we're going to take away here actually will leave the felt as a whole, if that makes sense. So right now it's not paid yet. I'm not going to touch the felt. You do it your way in your land, however you want to do it, but that's why I'm doing it this way here. Okay, so how do we achieve this code upgrade status? How do we zero out this line item yet leave the RCV amount? So it's a totally different feel from just putting a line item note because we still want to see what the adjuster is agreeing to pay for monetarily by leaving the RCV on the printed PDF version of the report. In order to create this PWI or code upgrade zero out thing that we're going to do, you need to add a additional coverage over in your coverages section. So I'm going to go to claim info at the top of the screen. I'm going to go to coverage loss subtab here. This will not appear if you're using the contractor profile, guys. You need to be using the carrier profile. I advocate that on all estimates. There's no reason to use the contractor profile. It really shuts down the different options that you have when writing an estimate. Yes, the contractor profile has different reports that you can run in your print. So if that's the reason that you're using contractor, that's fine. But you could duplicate your estimate over into the carrier profile in order to do something like this so that you can run this type of scenario. So this is found in the carrier profile. Just to clarify, you will not see coverage loss in a contractor profile. Okay, so what we're going to do here is add a new coverage, or an additional coverage is what it's going to look like. So what we're going to do here is go to add coverage. Now you get a blank line, and I'm going to go to the smart list again, just like we did with the note, and there I have an option to add other coverage types. So we're going to go ahead and click on add. I'm going to type in here code upgrade and leave it as type structural. Do not click save to estimate only, and left click OK. And now we have him set up. Now don't add him here as a main coverage type. This is not what you want to do. You don't want to add him right here yet. So I'm going to cancel that. I just use this blank line to get the coverage type created. So then what you're going to need to do is go up under the dwelling coverage and go to add options. This is where you can show your additional coverage, and this is where code upgrade will show. And what's going to happen is it's actually going to create a different summary on your summary sheet. So you'll see how this pops out whenever we hit print here. But there's a lot going on. I know this is a lot of information. Like I said, in the longer video, a lot more information here. But the code upgrade will actually create a separate summary so you can see the money that will be added once the work has been done, and they can pay out what has been incurred. So that's really the language there, is PWI, or paid out when incurred, when they incur the cost of the repair by adding that ice and water shield. So don't mean to beat a dead horse there, but this concept can be very new to some people. So I'm going to click code upgrade there under additional coverage, and we're going to left click OK. And we're going to go back over to our estimate items, go to our roof, select ice and water shield, and right here under dwelling you now have a sub or additional coverage here that denotes code upgrade. So I'm going to click that there. Notice it says we're going to pay that out when incurred. It's not going to never be paid, so we always want to leave our paid when incurred checked there and go ahead and roll with that. Let's also say that we're going to install some new venting. So we're going to make our turtle type vents also a code upgrade here, just so we can see several different options and how that's going to look. Going to go to print, and let's take a look at how this is looking. We've got our line items here which are grayed out. Notice that with a strike through. So I can see from the adjuster, if he sends you his report this way, he's agreeing that this money should be on the estimate, but will only be paid out when incurred through the code upgrade part of the policy. And as I said, you'll see a summary for dwelling code upgrade. Paid when incurred shows up at the end of the estimate. So $1,150 will be paid once we install the ice and water shield and the roof vents. So this $1,150 is not included in your RCV amount here for your dwelling summary. So notice how it separates it out on another page, which is really nice and tidy, but also is not including it here on what you're calling your regular RCV if you do not install those line items. So that is the way I prefer an adjuster to write his report, so that I can see that I've got another $1,150 that'll be added to the estimate once I install those materials and do that work. So that's the difference, guys, between bid items. As you can see here, we've zeroed out the amount in a different way. And of course, the pricing for this line item has been totally removed from the estimate and replaced by our $750 line item. With our PWI or code upgrade, we strike through, and this money is still technically there in the background. It's just zeroed out from our RCV and added to the bottom of our estimate in a new summary that can be paid whenever we show proof that those items and materials have been installed. My name is Lena Wilson with XM8 Mastery. If you like this topic, please like this video so I know I can create more videos on these types of topics about line item pricing and code upgrades and all that fun stuff. Also subscribe to our channel. I release new videos every week, usually on Tuesdays, for you to have new tips and tricks in your newsfeed. Also, for more information on the Xactimate training for contractors that I offer, please go to the website xm8mastery.com and check out all of our options. Hope you guys have a great week in your business, and I will see you next week.